Oh, I'm so sad.
Pim Pim, why are you sad?
Well, this is called Silly Stories for Kids.
Yeah?
And there are kids
Yeah?
that don't know about silly stories for Pim Pim.
Don't you mean silly stories for kids?
Well, you know that everybody only listens because of the Pim Pim.
That's not true.
Well, it is sad that they don't know about silly stories for kids. How do I tell all of them?
Well, maybe the kids listening can tell their friends, and maybe their friends can tell their friends, and then more of their friends can tell their friends.
Until the whole world knows about Pim Pim!
Well, no, but maybe. Who knows?
Okay, everybody listening, go tell all of your friends, and I mean all of them, about Pim Pim stories for Pim Pim.
No, silly stories for kids.
Oh yes, silly stories for Pim Pim.
Pim Pim!
Okay, let's get into the story. Okay, tell your friends. Bye-bye. One day, two kids named Luna and Ruby were outside. You see, they had found a tube of bubble mixture and they were very, very excited because they love to play with bubbles. As they started to blow the bubbles, it was starting to float into the air, but they noticed something different about these bubbles. They were coming into some kind of shape. They were forming different patterns and then they were doing very strange things. As they watched, the bubbles continued to do all kinds of ridiculous shapes and circles and patterns and got more and more intricate. Until Luna looked very, very closely at one of the bubbles. Ruby? Yes, Luna, said Ruby. There's people inside the bubbles? What? Said Ruby. What are you talking about? Look! Ruby and Luna looked very, very closely at one of the bubble patterns that was flying around, and sure enough, inside they could see tiny, tiny, tiny little people. One of the people inside started to wave. Luna and Ruby were very confused. They waved back, and as they waved, a noise came out of the bubble. Excuse me, are you Luna and Ruby? Yes, they said. How did you know our names? Well, we've been waiting for you to start blowing these bubbles for quite a long time, and we're so glad that you have finally started. But who are you? Said Luna. My name is Gloria, said the tiny little girl inside the bubble, and we thought that you would like to be part of our bubble pattern crew. Really? Said Luna and Ruby. Really? Said Gloria. Come on. But how do we get in there? Said Ruby. It's too small. Yeah, said Luna. It's tiny. Don't worry about that, said Gloria. We've got many things to be able to help you. Firstly, just pop that tube of bubble mixture on the ground. So the girls popped the tube of bubble mixture down. Then jump into it, said Gloria. That's not gonna work, said Ruby. Trust me, said Gloria. Give it a go. So, Ruby and Luna looked at it, very, very confused. I think we can do it, said Ruby. Or we'll just squash the bubble mixture, said Luna. Oh, well, we may as well try. Do we need to do it one at a time? Called out Ruby. No, said Gloria. You can hold hands and do it together. That sounds a lot better. So Luna and Ruby held hands, and at the same time, they jumped. As they jumped, they shrunk down, teeny, teeny, tiny, straight into the tube of bubble mixture. What is going on? Said Ruby. We're in bubble mixture. How can we breathe under the bubble mixture? They could hear a voice from outside the tube. Now you have to blow your own bubbles. What? Said the kids, very confused. Just start blowing, called out Gloria from outside the tube. Okay. So Luna and Ruby started to blow. And as they did, almost like blowing up a balloon, giant bubbles started to form around the outside of them. Well, it was giant for how small they were, but really they were just normal-sized bubbles, until Ruby was in one bubble and Luna was in another. That is amazing. Now you need to get out, said Gloria. How do we get out? Said Luna. Well, put your mouth to the side of the bubble and then blow on the outside. Okay. So the girls put their lips to the side of the bubble, almost as if they were kissing the edge of it, and they began to blow. As they did, their bubbles started to float straight out of the tube until they were in the air as well. We're floating, said Luna. This is amazing, said Ruby. Now you have to control it, said Gloria. How do we control it? They said. Have a look. They looked around the inside of their bubble, and sure enough, there was some kind of strange control panel. What is this? Said Ruby. That's how you control the bubbles, said Gloria. Come on. They sat down at their control panels and started to push the buttons and pull the levers, and they learnt how to float their bubbles. One made them go up, one made it go down, and another one made it go from side to side. And there was a button that every time you pushed it, the bubble would squeeze flat and then go big again. It was so much fun. They played and they played until Gloria said, "Okay, it's time now. We need to do something very important." "What do we need to do?" said the kids. "Well," said Gloria, "there's actually a kinder around the corner, and the kids have been having a bit of a tricky day, so we thought we would take our bubbles over to the kinder and make a big bubble show for them to make sure that they all have a wonderful time. Do you want to help?" "Sure," said the kids. "That sounds like fun." "All right," said Gloria. "Follow us." So Gloria's bubble flew off first, and all the other people in the bubbles followed along behind. Ruby and Luna joined in, and they sailed together in a V shape that helped them go super fast, like ducks as they flew. It was amazing. The girls loved it, flying over everything, being so teeny tiny small, and seeing the world from such a different angle. As they flew and they flew, they could see in the distance a tiny little playground at a tiny little kinder. They flew over the fence and into the yard, and there the kids were all playing in the yard, but they didn't look overly happy. They looked a little bit sad. You see, all the play equipment at their kinder had actually broken the day before, and so even though they were outside for playtime, there was really nothing to play with. "All right," said Gloria, "now is our time to shine." "What do we need to do?" said Luna. "Yes," said Ruby. What do we need to do?" "Well," said Gloria, "follow us." As she flew into the air, the girls followed along. "All right, everybody, is everybody ready?" They could hear everybody on some kind of intercom system coming through their bubbles. "Ready, Gloria?" "Yes, Gloria, I'm ready. Following along." As they flew in the formation, Gloria started to yell, "Okay, everybody, press the star button." The girls looked down at their control panel and saw a star button, and they pressed it. When they did, all the bubbles together formed a giant star over the top of the kinder. As the kids from the kinder looked up, they were amazed. "Look, there's a star up there. Oh, that looks like fun. Amazing! That's exciting." "They haven't seen anything yet," said Gloria. "All right, everybody, now pull the star lever." The kids looked across and they saw the star lever inside their bubbles. Okay, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3, pull! As they pulled the lever, something amazing happened. They didn't just stay in the shape of a star. All the bubbles started shooting out tiny little star bubbles. As they started to fly out from the star shape, they flew down amongst all the kids, shooting out tiny star bubbles that got bigger and bigger until the entire playground was filled with star-shaped bubbles. "This is amazing!" yelled the kids. "Hooray!" As they danced and played with the bubbles, Gloria continued to call out commands. "All right, everybody, now's the time for the spin. Press the swirly button." The girls looked down and they saw it. They pressed the swirly button inside their bubbles, and their bubbles started to spin. And then the bubbles all around them formed into a big circle, and then the big circle started to spin. It got bigger and bigger until it made a tiny little bubble tornado. The bubble tornado got bigger and bigger, and then out the top came spinning bubbles. The bubbles flew into the air, and the way that they spun made them stretch and compress into different shapes. And then, as they flew out, they popped. But when they popped, the spinning air caught the popped bits and blew them into new bubbles. "This is the best!" yelled the kids. The kinder teacher came out to see what all the kids were yelling about. She was amazed as she watched the bubble show. All the kids sat in a perfect line, and then they continued to watch. "All right," said Gloria, "it's time for the kids to have some fun too. Are you ready?" "Ready, Gloria?" "Yes, ready, Gloria." We're ready too," said the kids. "Okay, now, everybody, fly directly at a kid and make sure that you crash right into their chest." "What?" said Luna and Ruby. "Crash? But what will happen to us?" "Don't worry," said Gloria. "It's all part of the fun." So, when Gloria yelled, "Go!" all the people inside the bubbles flew down towards the kids and flew straight towards them. "That bubble's gonna crash into me! Oh, this'll be fun." As the bubbles flew down and crashed into the kids, they exploded into millions of tiny bubbles. So many bubbles that the kids got caught up in bubbles as well, and they started to be able to fly around too. "What? This is incredible!" "Hello, children," called out Gloria. "We're here to help you have lots of bubbly fun. All right, take control of the steering wheel inside your bubbles and follow me." The kids from the kinder were having the best time, and Ruby and Luna helped them all to be able to learn how to use their bubble flying machines. Gloria taught them all big tricks and new formations. It was so much fun. "All right, Ruby, it's your turn to control the bubbles." "What?" said Ruby. "Yeah," said Gloria. "You can call out the commands." Okay, said Ruby. Everybody press." She looked down at the control panel to try and work out which button to press. Press the one that looks a little bit like a question mark." "Oh, good choice," said Gloria. "What does it do?" said Ruby. "Don't worry, just wait and see." Okay, 1, 2, 3, press! As everybody in the bubbles pressed the question mark, something incredible happened. Because no longer were they inside just bubbles. The bubbles started to split, and then they started to fill with some kind of strange sparkling. And then the bubbles that were around them started to explode into tiny little bubble fireworks. All the kinder kids were laughing and giggling. Gloria was so happy. "Your turn, Luna. Call out a command. Everybody fly upside down," she said. "Good call," said Gloria. And so all the bubbles tipped up the other way, and everybody was flying around upside down in their bubbles. It was so much fun. "All right," said Gloria, "it's time for us all to get back to what we're meant to be doing. We'll see you later, kinder kids. Have a good day." As Gloria called, all the kinder kids' bubbles popped and the kids landed straight back on the ground. Their teacher was so happy. She smiled and she waved as Gloria, the bubble team, and Luna and Ruby flew off back to Luna and Ruby's house. When they landed in the yard, Luna and Ruby's bubbles popped and Gloria started to speak to them. "Thank you so much for your help today," said Gloria. "We couldn't have done it without kids just like you." "All right, we'll see you later," said Gloria. And with that, her and her team flew off into the distance, making incredible formations as they flew. As Luna and Ruby walked back inside, their mum was there waiting. "Hey girls, did you have fun playing with the bubbles? What did you end up doing?" "Well," said Luna, "I don't think you'd believe us, even if we told you." And that is the end of the story. This episode is brought to you by Gloria's Bubblemobiles. Do you have some friends that you'd like to take on a bubbly adventure? Make sure you get yourself a tube of Gloria's Bubblemobiles to make sure that it is so much fun. We hope you're enjoying Silly Stories for Kids. This has been me, Gloria, and me, Sam. We'll see you soon. Silly Stories for Kids is only possible thanks to the support of our listeners. If you want to help us make more stories, music, books, live shows, and so much more, head over to sillystoriesforkids.com and join the family.